Hi, I'm Nikki.
And I'm Megan.
Welcome to the Grimdark Diaries.
We're your geek gal pals obsessed with true crime and all things dark and disturbing.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another very exciting episode.
Always exciting. I feel like I get lower and lower with that intro every time we do
I don't
it.
know what voice work you were pulling with that intro, but you really got into it. I saw you were like wiggling and bobbing your head.
I don't know. I'm feeling extra dark and disturbing. Maybe I'm getting sick.
Oh, you would be. Oh, so listen, this week, my husband and I watched a 3-part horror movie series.
Did you actually?
Yeah, and then I had trouble sleeping every night we watched one of the movies.
I was going to say, did you watch it in the daytime, like with all the lights
and they
on?
weren't even that scary.
Okay, tell me what
but
did
they
you
were
watch?
good.
I'm curious.
We watched the Fear Street series on Netflix.
Oh, I've never heard of that one.
It is based on books by R.L. Stein.
Ooh, oh, I loved R.L. Stein.
Yes. It's very interesting how they did it. So part 1 is based in 1994. Part 2 is based in 1978. And part 3 is based in 1666.
What?
But it's all the same. Like, the very first one's in 1994. Something's happening in a town. And they're like, it's because of what happened. This is not a spoiler. You literally find out immediately. It's because of this witch from the 1600s. And they're like, things always happen in this town, like the blah, blah, blah that happened in 1978. So you watch this whole movie and all this stuff happens in 1994. And then the next movie flashes back to what happened in 1978.
Ah, okay.
It's really
That's
good.
Cool. I love that. I'm definitely going to check that out. Oh, I love horror genres. So good.
It was good. It had some twists.
I think I owned, I don't even know, 20 to 30 R.L. Stein books when I was young.
Same. I was obsessed with R.L. Stein.
So good. Oh, I'm so excited. Okay, cool. What's it called again? Fear
Street.
Fear Street? Okay, cool. I haven't seen that pop up.
It's really good. I liked it. There was a lot of twists. Every one of the movies had twists in it, which was good.
I love a twist.
Yeah, and they were good. Some of them we kind of started to see coming. Like, we were like, oh, I think this is going to happen. But then some of them we did not see coming. And we were like, oh my God.
Cool. I love it.
It was good. Yeah. And it's after the the third one, something happens. Like, there's like a post-credits thing.
Yes.
And it makes me think that there's going to be more.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm excited.
Yeah.
So is it like I don't know, a year, once a year? Like, are they seasons? But it's actually like a different story.
No, it's a movie.
It's a 3-part movie.
3 different movies, yeah.
That's weird. It's almost like a limited series sort of thing.
It feels like that because they're very connected.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, they literally, where it ends, it literally picks up the same scene in like the next movie.
Are each of them like an hour and a half or like 2 hours long?
Yeah, I think they were like an hour and a half.
Yeah.
They didn't feel too long.
Okay.
Because I can't sit for much longer than an hour and a half.
Yeah, that's fair. So you watched them like what, 3 days in a row?
No, we watched one on the weekend and then one on Monday and one on Tuesday. So I watched one on either Friday or Saturday. So I had a little break. And honestly, the first one probably scared me the most.
Is it because that you were expecting the same type of scare?
I think so.
Going forward?
I think I was better for the other ones because then you kind of know what's going on.
Yeah.
A bit.
Yeah. Oh, that's exciting. I can't wait to watch it. Well,
yes,
if we end early enough
highly
tonight,
recommend.
I can start them tonight. And I will.
Do it. Do it.
Yeah, we can talk about it on, the next time we hang out.
Yeah.
Which hopefully will be before the next podcast recording.
Yeah, we're going to go to the zoo this weekend.
Yes. TBD.
Are we?
TBD.
I'm going to the zoo. I'm going to pet alpacas and mini goats.
Oh, I want to go. We'll see how that goes. We'll see.
I'm going to kidnap Megan and bring her to the zoo.
This is new information, so we'll see. I love the zoo.
Megan, I have something exciting.
Oh, tell me. What's that?
I got my 23andMe.
Oh, yeah. I forgot.
Results.
How did it go? Where are you from?
I was really excited about it, and then I got COVID, and I kind of forgot about it, and now I'm re-excited again.
I'm excited. Tell me where you're from.
Well,
that sounds really bad. You know what I mean. That's not what I mean.
So I am 97.2%. So like my biggest percent, British, Irish, Scottish.
I feel like that's what mine is too. It's like up there in that percentage.
Yeah, it's big. So that's very exciting for me because we all know it's my dream to just be Scottish.
True.
And when I look at all the regions, the like highly likely match of the regions, a lot of them, Edinburgh's in there.
Nice.
Glasgow's in there.
Excellent.
So that makes me all very happy.
Yay.
Belfast. So that's exciting. So I'm 97.2% British Irish. And then I am 1.5% broadly Northwestern European.
Broadly Northwestern?
It says represented by people from as far west as Ireland, as far north as Norway,
yeah,
as far east as Finland, as far south as France. So it sounds like they don't really know.
That's the category, and the subcategory is like British and Irish, and then broadly Northwestern European. Oh, I see that too on mine. I have 0.5%.
Yeah. So I have like Northwest European is 99.5%, and then my British Irish is the 97.2, and then I have 1.5% broadly Northwestern European, which sounds like they just don't really know where.
Yeah, that's
European.
That's what it sounds like to me too.
And then I have 0.8% Scandinavian, and then 0.3% Italian, which was a surprise.
That's so funny.
Can confirm my favorite food is Italian. If anyone would ever like to feed me, Italian food
pasta,
for me.
Yum.
Oh, cheese on carbs,
okay,
baby.
I've had to go gluten-free carbs, but it's still good.
That's fine.
It's still good. I'm 1.8.
Still just delicious.
1.8% Italian, which I was really shocked to see as well.
Well, it explains your lovely dark features.
Oh, well, thank you. I don't know. I was not expecting it. And I actually have, I didn't realize this, but it's actually 5.4% French and German.
Oh.
So I'm not sure.
I think my husband had a pretty high German percentage. He had a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
He had like a smorgasbord. Smorgasbord? Borg.
Borg. Is it Borg? The Borg. Assimilate.
Like Star Trek?
Yes.
So that's my ancestry.
Cool.
And then, Megan, on my health predisposition,
yes,
I was very fortunate that I was not, I didn't have variants, and I was not a carrier for literally pretty much everything.
Hey, that's good.
Right, but guess what?
Oh.
I do have a slightly increased risk of
increased risk of ...
celiac disease.
No, you do not.
It says that.
What?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
I have one variant detected.
Oh my god!
And it says that I am at a slightly increased risk.
Oh my gosh, that's what mine is. I have one variant of celiac disease. I am slightly increased risk, and yeah, it says one of the two genetic variants that they test. Which one is yours? Do you see the name of it?
I do see, and it is HLA-DQB1.
Ooh, mine is A1.
Interesting.
But I am.
So now that has me slightly concerned. I feel like I don't have any symptoms, really.
Neither did I. And we found out that my acid reflux is not caused by celiac. It's caused by my no motility in my esophagus, zero movement in my esophagus. So my celiac disease had zero symptoms as well. I only knew about it because first my best friend told me about her brother who also had similar like acid refluxy symptoms that I did. And I thought, okay, well, what are the chances? Because acid reflux is not really technically common symptom, I guess, of celiac disease. So I kind of shrugged it off. She told me that like a year before I actually get tested. It wasn't until I got this test back from 23andMe. I swear, guys, we are not sponsored by 23andMe. But I feel like we should be.
But they are really exciting. And if you wait till they go on sale a lot, don't pay full price for them.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I got mine 50% off when I got mine. Yeah, they do go on sale a lot, especially for holidays and stuff. And it was when I saw this that I was a slightly increased risk of celiac disease. I took it to my doctor and she was like, well, let's just give you a test and see. And then I got my test results back and literally they were like, okay, I've never seen tests this high without actually being celiac. So we can pretty much say with certainty that you're celiac and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, and that changed my life 1 year ago this month, actually.
Damn.
Yeah. So you should get tested. I think
I'll think about it.
I feel like, I mean, you mostly eat a lot of gluten-free anyway, but you're not strict.
I eat sourdough bread like every day of my life.
Yeah, you're not strict with it. I think that you should get tested because, listen, if you have celiac, that's no laughing matter. Like, it literally is.
Oh, I am well aware because I yelled at you when you were like, I'm going to go gluten-free in October. I'm going to ease myself into it. And I was like, oh my God, you can't, Megan.
Yeah, you were yelling at me because it's literally destroying my small intestine. Like, if you do not, when you find out you're celiac, you immediately
Oh, you know what? I'm such a fool. I already got my blood tested, so I don't have it.
For celiac?
What a fool I am. Yeah, when I got my food intolerance test, they test gluten as well. They test any reaction to gluten.
When did you have it done? Because it can pop up at any time.
I don't know, 3 years ago.
Oh.
Maybe. So then I cut out my food intolerance foods that did get flagged, and then I got a lot better.
Okay.
And then I stopped eating meat, and then I felt way, way, way better.
Maybe you're fine then. Maybe you're fine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there was like it came up literally 0 because they mark stuff that's like any reaction and they test everything.
That's good. Well,
and it didn't flag.
Yeah, I don't know because I don't know what symptoms might pop up for celiac when you did have like an allergy test. Yeah, you had the blood test done, and if
I had a blood test.
Yeah, if they tested for that, then you're probably fine. But in all the research I've ever done on celiac disease, it is 80% of people in the population are undiagnosed right now because a lot of
I believe it.
Because people don't know they have it. Like there are literally no stereotypical symptoms of celiac disease. You don't have regular symptoms. You could have no symptoms of anything, of any kind, and still have celiac disease because it doesn't present itself in a common way that you would be like, oh, something is wrong with me. I should get tested about this.
Yeah.
You just don't have those types of symptoms. So I think there was a study that was done and like 80% of people out there are undiagnosed right now and going around with eating gluten and destroying their small intestine, which is, I hate to say it, but it's one of the leading causes of colon cancer.
Oh, trust me. When I went to the doctor to get tested, so I went to the doctor because as I got older in my 20s, my skin got really awful. And I was like, why am I going in reverse of what's supposed to happen? Because I'm getting older and I'm getting acne and my skin is just like congested. Yeah. It's not nice. It didn't matter how friggin' healthy I was, how whatever products I bought, exercise I got, I was like freakishly healthy. It got to the point where literally a doctor told me that maybe I'm being too healthy and restrictive and I should ease up on how healthy I'm being.
That is ridiculous.
So then I found a doctor that actually took me seriously. And I told her that a lot of times after I eat, like not after I eat every meal, but like by the end of the day, my tummy hurts. I had bathroom issues and my skin is shitty. And she was the first person that was like, you probably have a food intolerance. So like, let's test you. And then I learned a crap ton about food intolerances and like food sensitivities and stuff. And one thing that she taught me is that she said most people in this world have a food intolerance or a food sensitivity. The problem is that food issues show up different on different people. And what your body does is it puts symptoms, it like attacks the weakest thing in your body. So I could have the same in food intolerance in somebody else, but she was like, your skin is your weakest system, so that's why you're having so many skin issues. She said somebody else could have the same food intolerance, but they have asthma, and that is their symptom. And if they were to cut out their food intolerance, their asthma would completely clear up. But because their respiratory system is the weakest system in their body, that's the part of their body that's failing, because you're essentially poisoning your body with something that it cannot digest and it can't process.
Wow.
I learned a lot. I went to her a lot. I cried in her office a lot. It was great.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. So I wonder if it's a similar thing with celiac, because I mean, it's obviously all kind of related. And then she also told me that another issue that I had and why my stomach was extra frigged up is because I've been eating foods that my body can't process literally my entire life. And I don't think like if you have something like that, it was never able to process it. And when I was in my early 20s, I got strep throat a lot, a lot, to the point where when I was 22, they actually took my tonsils and my adenoids out because I was just getting it so frequently that they reached a point that they were like, we can't give you any more medicine because we've upped how strong the antibiotics are we've been giving you, that like we cannot up it anymore. It's to the point now where like we just can't do anything for you. So then she was basically like, oh, you completely funked up your digestive system because having antibiotics every friggin' month for like 3 years, she's like, you completely destroyed your gut. So then I had leaky gut syndrome, which basically is like not great. Your guts, your digestive things are leaking into your body.
That's awful. Oh my
gosh. Then that also is not good. So I feel that celiac issue. So then I had to work very hard to fix my leaky gut, which is repairable.
That's good.
Much like you cutting out gluten can help your...
Yeah. So I had my scope done a few weeks ago, and I had my follow-up appointment with my doctor yesterday, and they did the biopsies on the polyps in my stomach, which all came back benign. Yay. Thank you. I'm very happy about that. And they also did the biopsies in my small intestine. So they found out that I am for sure 100% celiac, which was a nice confirmation, because when I was diagnosed initially, it was actually, if you remember, my doctor called me, but I missed a call, so she left a message for me to call back. And then when I called back, the receptionist said there was a note on the file, so the receptionist is the one who told me that I was celiac and that I should start eating gluten-free right away. And so when I started eating gluten-free right away, by the time I saw the specialist, the gastroenterologist, she said, oh, you kind of did it backwards. Normally we don't tell you to go gluten-free until after we do the biopsy, but you know, we can still do the biopsy if you want, but you have to go back on gluten for like 2 weeks or something like that. And I'm like, no, no, thank you. I already know how bad I feel when I have gluten, so I can pretty much use that as my diagnosis, right? Thank you very much. And so we never actually did it. But now that since they were in there anyway, they decided to do the biopsies from the other end in my mouth, down my throat. And
I pointed out to Megan that they had something in her intestine and they pulled it up through her mouth.
So gross. I'm assuming.
I can't believe you didn't think of that before.
I know. I am assuming that maybe they dipped it in my stomach acid and burned it off. I don't know.
I mean, it's got to fly through there anyway. So
so gross. Anyway. So I have been confirmed as celiac, and also they checked the damage of my small intestine and said that it's healing beautifully, that they can tell that I am a very strict gluten-free eater now, and there is still mild damage there, but that means that I am doing a good job. They think that it just was going on for a lot longer than we originally
and
thought.
I mean, it's only been like almost a year now.
It was August 11th when I was diagnosed last year, so it's been just over a year. Mind you, I was going to say, has it been a year of you not eating gluten? I tried to transition, but it doesn't work that way. You can't transition into a gluten-free diet. It's all or nothing. I found that one out the hard way. Anyway, so it's all very good news. Very happy to report that, we're good.
Well, yay, celiac. Yay. Okay, so the only other thing in my 23andMe, to circle back to this.
Sorry.
So everything on my so I didn't really have anything, which was great news. But it was like, I just scrolled and I was like, oh, there's nothing in here. Okay. And then I went to the wellness and stuff, which is, it tells you you're more likely afraid of heights and you more likely prefer vanilla over chocolate and like that kind of stuff. It was all like pretty much spot on. The only thing that was like way off is that according to my genetics, I should have light hair.
What?
Yes. The percentage of me having dark hair is less than 13%.
No way.
And my natural hair color is so dark brown, it is almost
brown.
black.
Yeah, I feel like I met you when you had your natural, I mean, you might have still dyed it, but you dyed it your natural hair color, which is very dark brown. Very,
very dark.
Wow.
And according to my genetics, I'm most likely to have light blonde hair, followed by dark blonde hair, followed by light brown hair, and the smallest percentage is dark brown hair.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
Yeah, so that one was the only one that I was like, I wish.
Yeah,
I wish I had light
so interesting
hair, then dyeing my hair pink would be a lot friggin' easier. But yeah, everything was very spot on. It was very interesting.
I find all of the reports that you get back from 23andMe so fascinating. Like, I'm like, how can you tell that from my DNA? Like,
well, I hope everyone enjoyed this 23-minute discussion of our genetics.
Welcome to life over 30.
Right? I'm so freaking excited to get this thing. But the one thing I was upset about, okay, this is the last thing I'll say and then I'll tell my story.
Okay.
The one thing that I was so disappointed in is one of the things that they check is that if you have the whatever genetic blah, 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 to be an elite athlete. And I did not have it. And I was like, God damn it. And I don't know why I wanted it, but I did. And then wouldn't you friggin' guess my husband, his results come back and he has it. He has the whatever genetics that most elite athletes have. And I was like, frig you.
Oh my gosh, of course he does. I'm not surprised. I am surprised that you don't though, because you're like dancer extraordinaire. I feel like you could compete like professionally.
Apparently my genetics are working against me in that. So I could have been maybe like a friggin' world famous dancer had I had the right genetics.
Yeah, Dancing with the Stars.
Frig.
I believe it. You're a fantastic dancer, so.
Hey, thanks. Yeah. I try my best. I might retire soon. I'm getting pretty old.
Yeah, just do it for fun.
Okay, so that's enough of the 23andMe advertisement that they certainly didn't pay us for. So let's go on to story time.
Yay, stories.
Do you remember my theme?
Something. No, I don't remember at all, actually. Oh, yeah, weird science.
It was only 2 words. Weird science.
Yeah.
I'm really excited about my story today. It's one of those wild things that doesn't really sound real, but it is.
Okay, I am intrigued.
Mm-hmm. There's also no for sure explanation of why this thing happened because it's weird, unexplained.
I don't know.
So we can make our guesses at the end of what we think caused it.
You're saying there's no closure is what you're saying.
There is closure. There's like a list of theories, but there's no way to prove which is accurate. And I mean, it could be something, I guess, not in the theories too, but there's just no way.
Theories are not closure.
Yeah, we can solve it. It's fine.
Okay, yeah. Well, yeah.
I have my theories.
I'll put my detective cap on when we'll solve it as we go.
So today we are talking... Oh, we had a nice segue earlier. Today we're talking about the dancing plague.
Oh my gosh. The dancing plague. Oh my
dancing
God.
plague.
Okay, wow. That sounds like something that I don't want to participate in.
No, you don't. It is also known as dancing mania or choreomania. It is literally exactly what you think it is. So it's literally a plague where you can't stop dancing.
Oh, what?
Yes.
Is this a real thing? I know I've seen like, I don't know, not cartoons, but like old-timey movies about stuff like this, but not actually thinking that it was real.
Well, the dancing plague occurred primarily in mainland Europe between the 14th and 17th centuries. It involved groups of people dancing erratically.
With the Sanderson sisters putting a spell on them, maybe?
Yeah. Well, some people thought stuff like that.
That's what happened in Hocus Pocus, though.
Yeah. Sometimes it affected thousands of people at a time.
What?
Yes.
How?
Well, we're going to get there. The mania affected adults and children, so it did not discriminate, and they would dance until they literally collapsed from exhaustion and injuries, and some even danced until they died.
What? Oh my gosh, what is happening? I've never heard of this. Not like...
Right? It's so exciting.
I love how excited you are about this.
I was really excited when I found this story.
Well, it's right up your alley with the dancing.
I know, right? And I like weird stuff like this.
Yeah.
Especially like, I don't know, just interesting history. Yes. I find history generally kind of, boring. Like, I don't know. I feel like when you're in school and you're learning about history, yes, it is so dry and boring.
Yes.
And then I find stuff like this and I'm like, why didn't I learn about the damn dancing plague? Right? This would have kept my interest. I would have wrote an essay on this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
We're going to travel back to the city of Strasbourg. I think that's how you say it, which is in what is now France. And we're going to July of the year 1518. A woman known as Frau Trophäa stepped into the street and began to silently dance. And not just like subtle dancing. She was twisting, she was shaking, she was grooving.
So there was no music?
There was no music whatsoever.
Oh.
She was just busting a move in the middle of the street by herself in silence.
Okay. Interesting.
Those watching her noted that she seemed like she was unable to stop. Like it didn't seem like she was, smiling, being like, woo, let's get this party started. She took no breaks or rest. She just kept going until she eventually collapsed from exhaustion.
Were people not like, hey, what are you doing? Like maybe
no,
you should
they
come
were.
in off the street, and like she just didn't reply to them or what?
No, I think she was speaking to people. People could speak during it because we'll hear about how people literally are screaming for mercy.
Okay. Oh my God, that sounds horrific.
Yeah. So eventually she did collapse from exhaustion. And once she had a short rest, she would literally get up and start dancing all over again. She would repeat this for days. If this wasn't weird enough, just her doing this, within the first week, over 30 people in the town had joined her with the same affliction.
Well, like
all dancing.
Do they eat?
No.
They're not even eating? Drinking water? I don't understand.
No. That's how people died.
Oh my gosh. That's crazy.
So everyone is in the street now, 30 plus people. They are all dancing and like dancing vigorously, unable to stop, regardless of hunger or pain. And they would just keep going until their bodies physically collapsed. Those watching saw physical injuries on people. Most of them would end up having bleeding feet because they'd be dancing for hours and days on their feet, but they still didn't stop. So remember, this was July. This continued until August.
I'm sorry. Are you serious? Like a whole month?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. How is that even possible?
Right. And I think that they were, when the people would collapse from exhaustion, they would end up bringing them like food and water and stuff.
Yeah, that's fair. And they can like actually eat and drink when they've collapsed.
Because their bodies physically couldn't hold them up anymore.
Oh my gosh.
But they would never stop dancing to go eat or drink.
Sounds like a weird dream, like something. I don't know.
Right?
It's so weird.
So a whole month later, it was estimated that now there were over 400 people in this town, all afflicted with the dancing plague, all unable to stop.
I just cannot wrap my head around this. How? Tell me how this is happening. Is it something in the water?
We don't know.
Oh.
We don't know the answer. And we're going to touch on it, but this wasn't the only town that this happened in.
I'm not okay with this story.
This is just, so this, I think I touch on this later. I can't remember, so I'll just say it now and I might repeat it later, is that this particular case of the dancing plague is the most well documented. There were city records, there were written sermons, there were, reports by doctors, by townspeople, and all the accounts add up. Like everything matches up. So this is if you Google the dancing plague, this town's plague is the one that comes up the most,
right?
Because it is so well documented and there's so much record of it.
Wow.
So there were other records of other towns, but not as good records. There's one other town, the very first town that there's record of. There's pretty good record of that. And then there's a bunch in between, but there's not enough that I would be like, yes, they had a dancing plague.
Wow.
Right.
Wow. I just can't wrap my head around it. It's crazy to think about that happened.
Yeah. There didn't seem to be any correlation between the people that it was affecting. So there were men, women, children. They were all in on the dancing frenzy. They couldn't find how it was hitting people, like how people were getting pulled in to this plague. Remembering too that it's the summertime, so it is very hot outside. The only thing that they could really see that everyone had in common was that this dancing was involuntary. So people did not seem like they wanted to be dancing. They would be almost writhing in pain. They'd be screaming for help. They would be begging for mercy to have it stop.
What? Why couldn't they be restrained or something?
I don't know. How do you restrain 400 people?
Well, their loved ones. I don't know.
You gonna hold them down 24 hours a day?
Yes. Strap them to the chair, obviously.
And it sounded like maybe that very first girl that she was dancing in the street, it sounded like they tried to kind of take her away, but then it was just, over 400 people in the town. What are you going to do?
Yeah, that's wild.
Some dancers even died from strokes and heart attacks because they were exerting themselves so hard while dancing for so many days in a row that their bodies just gave out on them.
Wow.
The civic and religious leaders of the town were trying to find a solution. And so they theorized that the solution to this problem was more dancing.
What? That does not, no. That does not make any sense.
No, it doesn't.
How would that help?
That's a great question. Well, this is what they thought. So they thought more dancing was going to fix this. So they hired professional dancers to join in and to help the afflicted people continue dancing. They cleared out guild halls and they built a stage in the center of town so that dancers could go inside or they could get up on a stage.
Yeah.
They also hired bands to play music for the dancers so they weren't dancing in silence anymore. Yeah.
That is ridiculous.
Yeah. Part of the theory was that they thought that the professional dancers could tire them out. These people have been dancing for 2 months. So I don't know where their head was.
Oh my gosh, these poor people.
Yeah. And they thought, so people would dance until they literally collapsed from exhaustion. So then when they were like, oh, the solution is they need to keep dancing. So then the town paid a bunch of strong men to keep the dancers upright as long as possible.
No.
So even when they were exhausted, they would hold their bodies up so that they could keep
so they couldn't
whirling
rest.
around.
That is horrible. Are you?
It's not good.
Oh my God. What? Who is running this town?
Right, I know.
Seriously. Oh, that is the worst thing you could do for somebody who is literally collapsing from exhaustion, is keeping them upright.
Yeah, that wasn't a great idea.
Oh my gosh. Come on.
So they realized after a while that this wasn't working, and it wasn't helping.
Shit.
It wasn't stopping. It wasn't slowing anybody down, and people were still catching the dancing plague. The dancing was also said to be quite feverish and manic. It was described as having mindless intensity. So like it wasn't like purposeful movement. Like people were just kind of thrashing about.
Like a zombie?
Maybe.
I don't know why
Maybe
that
this
was
is the first zombie
immediately
apocalypse.
the first thing I thought about. Mindlessly thrashing.
Yeah.
Seriously.
At this point, people were dancing in the streets. They were in guild halls. Some people were found dancing in their homes. So nowhere in the town was safe from catching the plague. According to sociologist Robert Bartholomew, these dancing plagues had records of the dancers, some dancers, not all of them, parading around doing this naked. Some were recorded making obscene gestures while dancing, and some were even found having sex in public with other afflicted people.
What?
Yes.
Well, dancing
while
is very erotic
doing
sometimes.
their dancing.
Oh my god. Oh my soul. That's so funny.
Some were recorded acting like animals, especially like barnyard animals, while they were doing this dancing.
Okay.
Yes. Allegedly, he also said some dancers could also become violent towards people that were watching them and not joining in. So people that were just watching it all go down. I guess a lot of plague people didn't like that.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
One account claims that there were upwards of 15 deaths at like the height of this, and it was 15 deaths every day.
Oh my gosh.
For like a little while. Yeah.
That is no small number. Oh my good lord.
Yeah, so they think kind of in the height of this, about 100 people may have died.
Holy crap. Oh my gosh. That is, I feel like there are way better ways to handle this kind of a situation. I don't know off the top of my head.
It's the 1500s. I don't think they knew.
I guess, yeah, but oh my gosh, wow. Strap them down.
Strap them down.
That's all I keep thinking about. Like, just strap them down somehow.
One record that was actually stored in the city archive said, and this is all a direct quote, "There's been a strange epidemic lately going amongst the folk, so that many in their madness began dancing, which they kept up day and night without interruption until they fell unconscious. Many have died of it."
Wow.
A chronicle composed by the architect Daniel Specklin that's still kept in the city archives. So he was there at this time. And this is all still, they have the original copy, described the course of events, noting that the city council came to the conclusion that the bizarre urge to dance was the result of overheated blood in the brain.
What?
So that's what the city was going with at first.
Did they take its temperature? Like, I don't...
They think that your blood was too hot. So, you got like hot blood. So you were,
Okay.
if your insides are hot, I guess
Sure.
you're dancing.
Hot potato. It's very weird.
So this dancing plague continued into September. So people have now been dancing and dying for 2 full months.
How are they letting this happen?
They can't stop it.
Strap
they hired
them down.
the strong men and it didn't work, Megan.
They're not using strong enough straps.
So now that it's been, well, you'll like this next part. They were like, we got to do something. Strategy 1 didn't work. It's not working.
Yeah.
So they decided to take a different approach. They decided that infected people had been consumed by, I'm going to give you one guess of where they're going to go and blame it. This is the 1500s.
Demons. I'm guessing demons. They've been possessed.
The infected people had been consumed by holy wrath, and so penance was enforced on the town along with the banning of music and dancing in public.
Oh my god. Wow. Yeah, that sounds about right for that time.
Right?
Oh my gosh.
So then they were like, nope, you guys are done. We're done here. No more dancing.
Yeah, that'll do
it. Right? Well, this is what they did. So according to the city documents that were stored in the archive, at this point, delirious dancers were eventually taken to a shrine dedicated to Saint Vitus, Vitus, V-I-T-U-S. I'm going to go with Vitus. So it was located in a grotto on the hills in a nearby town. So they paraded all of the dancers. They, corralled them like
a dancing parade
cats,
up
I guess. Yep.
Okay.
Up the hill to this shrine. There, the dancers' very bloodied feet were placed into red shoes before they were led around with a wooden figurine of the saint. So we'll talk about this saint a little bit later when we go into the theories and stuff, but this saint was very heavily tied with dancing, and they thought that they had to, the town thought that this saint was basically bringing his wrath down on these people.
Like cursing them with some sort of dancing curse for some reason.
Yes.
Oh boy.
What is particularly weird about this is that a few weeks after that, the dancing seemed to slow down until it eventually just stopped one day. And it was over. Plague was gone.
Oh, no. Oh, so they think that the thing that they did worked.
Holy wrath.
Okay. Yep. Mm-hmm.
So this was the most well-recorded instance of the dancing plague. So historians fully believe that this did happen in this town. There were some other incidents that were less documented, so not everybody agrees on those. So I'm not going to really cover those because who knows if they're correct or not.
Right.
But on June 24th, 1374, so our last story was the 1500s. This is 1374. People took to the streets of Aachen, Germany, and started wildly dancing. This incident was the first one that was well documented, and records say the numbers grew into the thousands of people dancing in this city.
Oh my gosh. Holy. Yeah. What is happening?
Right?
That is wild.
The people, just like the other incident, would be vigorously jumping, dancing, sometimes screaming or chanting until completely exhausted, at which point they would collapse. Some died from cardiac arrest or suffered injuries because of how violent the dancing was. Those who didn't die once exhausted would sometimes be found twitching on the ground. Some were found foaming at the mouth and gasping until they were once again able to get up and continue their dancing.
Wow. I have no words. Like, I am
right?
I am so flabbergasted about this whole thing and that it is real. That
right?
there are actual accounts of this happening.
Yeah.
Like, how did that happen? I'm so confused. Like, what causes that? Okay,
everyone is confused, to be honest.
Yeah. You need to tell me the theories, and then is there anything modern within the last decade that kind of talks about what they feel it might have been based on science evidence?
They don't have real science evidence, but we're almost there. Next we're going theories. Okay. 2 seconds. Okay. So the last point on this one is just that the outbreak in Germany was called St. John's Dance.
That sounds like good old George Street. Good time. Right. George Street, St. John's, Newfoundland.
Right. Apparently that was also some saint to do with dancing, I think. I don't know my saints.
I don't know any saints. I know nothing.
Don't yell at me.
I feel like that's
I might mention them again. I know I mentioned that Saint Vitus again, but I think that saint also had something to do with dancing.
Yeah.
So there was, after this one, in Aachen, there was record that the dancing plague spread up to, please excuse my pronunciation of these towns, Liege, Utrecht, Tongres, and other towns in the Netherlands and Belgium up and down the Rhine River. So those reports weren't as detailed and as plentiful, but there were reports in that whole area. It was like I guess towns all along this one main river, and almost all of the towns had reports at some point that they had a dancing plague of some kind.
Wow. Something in the water.
Right? Maybe it is. Maybe the Rhine River.
Could be. That's what it sounds like.
Mm-hmm. Well, some kind of poisoning is an option.
Interesting.
I got some fun facts for you later.
I love fun facts.
Right? So now we can look at what could have possibly caused this absolutely wild and weird dancing plague.
Okay.
Some of these are theories that happened during the time. And so, like, that's what the towns thought caused it. So take those ones with a grain of salt.
All right.
Some are from historians or sociologists, whoever was kind of looking into it afterwards. Like we had mentioned about St. Vitus, the first one that seems to always be tied to stuff at this time is religion. St. Vitus is a Catholic saint who devotedly religious 16th century Europeans believed had the power to curse people with a dancing plague. So I don't know which came, like, I don't know if there's a chicken and the egg situation,
right.
If that was a belief and then the dancing plague hit, or if the dancing plague hit and then everybody was like, it must be St. Vitus.
Right. Yeah.
Because that seems like a very specific thing for him to curse people
Doesn't
with.
it? Yeah. And also, what would the point be? I just do not. I don't get that one at all. No.
Mm-hmm. No. So the church in a lot of these towns thought that dancers had been possessed by the devil or perhaps cursed by a saint like Vitus or Saint John. So exactly what Megan said, possession was a big theory across the towns.
Yes.
2 decades before the summer of 1518 dancing plague, a cleric in Strasbourg named Sebastian Brandt wrote in his satirical allegory, The Ships of Fools, quote, that dance and sin are one in kind. He blamed Satan for all of this giddy dancing gaily done.
What?
Is that a thing? Does the Bible hate dancing?
I don't think so. I'm pretty sure they talk about like dancing with joy at seeing Jesus or something like that. Like the kids would dance with joy at seeing Jesus or something. I don't know. I have a very faint memory of church growing up, but I feel like
that seems like a happy thing. Dancing's like a celebration.
Don't recall any words ever saying that dancing was a sin.
Well,
maybe
dancing's
I
a sin.
Get to that point in my Sunday school.
There's no hope for me.
Yeah.
I'll tell you right now.
I do not.
I saw Megan busted a few moves, so there's no hope for her either.
No, that's right. That's right.
We've been to a few convention dances.
The belly dancing class that
we went belly dancing before too. That's definitely probably a sin.
That's probably not, dancing with joy for Jesus.
What? He doesn't want to see me shake it?
Shaking what your mama gave you.
You can't shake it for Jesus? He sounded like a very understanding person. Right. I feel like if I was like, this is my favorite thing, I'm really good at it, he'd be like, good for you.
No. Yeah. Well,
no, he wouldn't.
I don't know. I'm not Jesus. I don't know. Don't know.
I didn't read the Bible, Megan. I don't know.
I was a kid. I was not. It's been a long time.
We'll do some research.
Yeah.
Come back to us. Let us know if dancing's a sin.
Okay. Yeah. Based on the one religion that I am. Not even religion, really, just Christianity in general.
Other theories have suggested that the dancers were members of a religious cult. I don't know what the point of that would be. Dancing until they die. I don't really get that one.
Well, I mean, think about some cults where they actually like drink a cyanide poisoning or something like that because you're like sacrificing yourself for the greater cause of ascension or whatever they believe. to be ascension
I guess that's true.
things.
Seems like an awful way to die until
Yeah.
you give yourself a heart attack.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't think any of the ways that they kill not each other, but themselves in cults is a pleasant way to die.
I mean, sometimes they drink Kool-Aid. Well, it's not actually Kool-Aid because
Kool-Aid.
Kool-Aid is really pissed at that reference.
Yeah, that's fair. It's just juice. Let's just call it juice. Juice.
Another theory is that traveling religious pilgrims were thought to possibly be going through the towns. So they'd move from town to town and get people involved in this.
I'm just looking
I
at
don't
you
know.
like, how? What would they be
know.
doing?
Just because it kind of like the
Rattle
I'm
into
like,
towns
I
after
do
days.
agree it's odd that it like traveled up towns like in this area.
True.
So it does weirdly seem like somebody is like coming along, you know?
but they wanted to stop, like unless
Yes.
somebody has control of them, like little puppets.
Yeah. Several years after the incident in Strasbourg, the physician Paracelsus suggested that a person's laughing veins could provoke a ticklish feeling that rose from their limbs to their head, clouding judgment and provoking extreme motion until the frenzied blood was calmed.
Oh my gosh, that sounds
So
horrible.
I'm not really sure where your laughing veins are. Is that like your funny bone?
That's what
Is your laughing veins connected to your funny bone?
That's what I was thinking, because that hurts actually when you hit that.
Oh,
That is like one of the worst pains you can feel as a human if you hit your funny bone.
oh,
Not so funny,
don't
is
even make me
it?
think of it.
How many
Frig.
times do you hear that when you're grown up?
So for all this physician tried to like put a, I'm going to say scientific in very thick air quotes, solution behind this, he did also involve religion. And he said those most commonly affected by the dance were whores and scoundrels who take pleasure in guitar and lute playing, satisfying all voluptuousness, bodily pleasures, imagination, and fancy.
What? That escalated very quickly.
It did. It went from
Are we
laughing
talking like
veins-
sirens or what are they called? Succubus?
The succubus.
I don't know. I feel like that's kind of what you just described.
But then he also said, so he's just all over the place. He did also argue in his writing that imagination was a more plausible culprit than God or the devil. The imagination, he said, doth not onely fly out of one house into another, but also must swiftly passeth from one city and county into another, so that by the imagination only of one person, the pestilence may come into some whole city or country. So he also said it's all in everybody's head.
That could be.
I think
true,
he was
too.
just throwing shit at the wall, seeing what would stick.
Yeah, yeah, that's fair. I'm like, that sounded like a lot of gibberish that you just said.
Yeah. So,
I have an answer about the dancing in the Bible.
oh,
I looked it up.
Megan had to know if she
Look,
was.
you were looking
if she
up a
sinned.
pronunciation of a word. I looked it up. So it actually doesn't. The Bible actually doesn't say anything specific about dancing. It's on one hand, Moses was up on the mountain talking to God, and then the people.
I thought you were going to say he was busting a move.
No, no. And then I guess in this case, dancing led to very sinful activity while he was up there, like down on because they built like an idol and started worshiping the idol and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, and dancing led to sinful activity. However,
Does it mean sex?
Yeah, I would say that.
I mean, what else does dancing lead to? You
It
murdering?
incited idolatry, lust, and damnation, apparently. But on the other hand,
Yeah,
it
dancing's
said,
hot.
on the other it is. It can be. Every instance of dancing that is not considered sinful in the Bible was done in worship or praise to God. So like I said, like I'm pretty sure I remember stories of like, because when I was a kid going to Sunday school, like I'm sure I've heard stories of children laughing and dancing and, you know, excited to see Jesus and whatever.
Okay,
And
so
it's always a
you can
fun and
dance,
exciting thing.
and it's not a sin. But if you're dancing and then you look over and you're like, damn,
Yeah.
Mary looks good shaking that groove thing, then it's a sin.
I guess. I don't
That's
know.
lame.
Listen, I'm just telling you what I read.
Dancing's hot.
It's not
Wrong.
considered sinful in the Bible. It is just, it has in the past led to sinful activities. Let's just say that.
Interesting. So
Yeah.
there you go. You can throw this theory out the window.
There you go. Facts. Well, I mean, I guess it depends on your views, but
This physician, he was all over the place. So he thought laughing veins caused all of this. They provoked a ticklish feeling,
Right.
which made you dance. And then he thought,
weird.
if you're a whore and a scoundrel and you take pleasure in, for some reason, playing music and bodily pleasures, then it affected you. But then by saying imagination, he was basically saying that it was in people's head, and that was how it traveled from city to city.
Literally?
No, it was made up.
In their head? Oh, okay.
Made up. Like your
Like
imagination.
Yeah. I was going to say the sugar pill, and I literally lost the name as I was trying to speak. What's the sugar pill called?
Placebo?
Placebo, thank you. Like the placebo effect.
Historian John Waller theorized that the dancing plague was simply a symptom of medieval mass hysteria. This theory states that mass hysteria brought on by horrific conditions of extreme poverty, disease, and starvation caused the townspeople to dance from stress-induced psychosis. He argued that this collective psychosis was possibly exacerbated by the supernatural beliefs common in the religion at the time, especially the lore surrounding Saint Vitus and his dance-inducing powers. Oh, that answers our question of the chicken and the egg. So I guess Saint Vitus had the power to curse people with dance before the plague.
So that people say, yeah, sure.
There had previously been records of at least 10 other outbreaks of let's go with unexplained dancing mania.
Inexplicable.
Centuries before the events at Strasbourg that took place. So Waller cited the theory of environment of belief. So this theory was proposed by U.S. anthropologist Erica Bourgeonon. Let's go with that. Which argues that supposed spirit possessions occur primarily, spirit possessions in quotations, occur primarily where supernatural ideas are taken seriously. This then encourages believers to enter a dissociative mental state in which their normal consciousness is disabled, causing them to carry out irrational physical acts. So basically, their whole theory is that it was kind of all in everybody's head. It was just psychosis, and it kind of just pulled people in, like kind of like a group think, you know?
Does that happen? Does that happen now? I've never heard of this ever in my life.
I mean, mass hysteria happens.
Mass hysteria, yeah, but like as a dancing plague, like we're
Dancing
thousands
plague
of
has not
people?
happened in the modern world.
Like I
no.
literally have never heard of this before, and
But there's also not a big belief now about a saint that curses you with dancing.
fair.
Whether that's related or not, I don't know.
Give him power.
Again, I don't
guess.
know my saints.
I don't know. I know nothing about Catholicism.
In Italy, the plague was called tarantism because they believed
No,
that.
do not. Are you going to say anything about tarantulas? Because I will not hear it.
So they believed the dance was caused by a spider bite
No.
or a way to work out the poison. Oh my God, a fly just flew right in front of my face.
Oh,
Holy shit. Don't do that while I'm talking about spiders.
this is literally it's like the worst timing. No.
So it was either a spider bite or it was a way to work out the poisons the spider had injected in people. That's what they thought.
I am very uncomfortable right now.
I am too. That fly scared the shit. My heart dropped to my butt.
It's funny.
So this next theory, I thought that this could have some weight, but
Is it science?
there is science involved.
Okay. I do like science.
but it would make no sense why it lasted for more than a day.
Okay. Hit me with
So then it kind of throws this out. But this is very interesting.
Okay.
So thinking back to the conditions of the time, so like 1500s, 1300s, ergot is a mold that grows on damp rye stalks. So rye was a widely used grain at this time. A lot of breads and stuff like that were made with rye. It was very easily accessible. Obviously, they don't have fridges and stuff.
Right.
So very often it was damp and left somewhere, and it would grow this mold. This mold produces a psychoactive chemical very similar to LSD.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
It's hitting home now.
Yes. And even if you bake this rye and you consume it, you still get the effects. So if you consume it and develop ergotism, you can experience delusions and muscle spasms. So your body is twitching and moving about. You're also completely tripping out because it's psychoactive. You're high on LSD. You're seeing things that aren't there.
Okay.
What I like most about this fun fact, and I actually knew this before I did this story, and so then when I saw that this was a possible theory, I got really excited. So I'm going to guess, Megan, do you know anything about ergot?
No, I don't think I do.
Well, fun fact about ergot. It is believed that an ergot outbreak in Salem actually caused the Salem witch trials.
What?
Yes.
How?
Well, a quick brief Salem witch trials history.
Yeah.
The whole reason it started in Salem is because there were two young girls named Betty and Abigail, and they one day had convulsions. They saw things that weren't there. They were tripping out.
Right.
So then obviously family called the doctor. The town doctor diagnosed them as bewitched. Obviously nobody knew what ergot was at this time. They didn't know that,
right,
storage methods of rye, proper storage methods,
right,
because obviously not something you'd really see, and you wouldn't know. You cook whatever it is.
True. Could also, symptoms like that could also be some other disorder like schizophrenia or something like that. Like,
the thing with ergotism is that it's about it hits you for about 24 hours or less.
Right.
And you just have like these symptoms for like 24 hours or less, and then you're done.
Yeah.
So once it works its way in your body.
In a dancing plague, if you are collapsed and people are feeding you water and food.
Well, that's the thing. If somebody's feeding you more of this stuff.
You could be ingesting more of that ergot and continue experiencing those symptoms. Yeah. That's very interesting.
Well, so that's what happened in Salem, is that like scientists now actually believe that there was an outbreak of this in the town. So then it started with these two little girls, but then other people in the town started having similar symptoms, and it would be like 24 hours of them and you, like, a lot of them saw stuff. And especially if you're already in that culture and already in that world, being scared of witches and demons, and then you're tripping on something like LSD,
right?
You're going to see stuff like demons and witches.
Yeah.
And so then the whole town, like all of Salem, went on this witch hunt to kill all the witches to stop people from being bewitched, or so they thought.
Right.
So again, it was an issue of religion and groupthink, where people are like, oh, this is what it is. One doctor says they're bewitched. So then that's kind of like the initial thing that kicked it all off. And then they just went wild and killing people because they're like, oh, they're a witch.
Wow. How quickly that spiraled, eh?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Can you imagine Salem witch trials are possibly brought on by moldy rye bread?
Oh my gosh. That is wild.
I love the Salem witch trials. I find them very fascinating.
I'll be honest, I don't know a whole lot about them.
Oh,
we should
they're
do a story
very
on them
sometime. Listening to that, they're friggin' fascinating.
We'll add it to our list of categories.
Yeah.
Because I'd love to hear stories about what happened. Because I don't really know the full story. Like, I know bits and pieces here and there of stuff I've heard over the years, but I've never sat down
so
and heard
sad.
like seen a documentary or listened to a podcast or anything. I've heard nothing.
I've read so much stuff and listened to so much stuff. We'll cover it one day. I love it. I freaking love talking about the Salem witch trials.
Yeah. Well, work it.
Yeah. Work it.
Work it into our categories.
So back on the dancing plague, like I said, I could see this holding some weight. It's just the length of time. But I mean, if they kept getting fed
yeah, that's the thing.
Maybe that's just it, right?
Literally. And what do you feed somebody who isn't eating anything else? You probably just feed them bread or something easy that they'll just that you can just shove in their mouth because they're too exhausted to eat.
Crack the lid on this whole dancing plague. There was the only other thing. I put my
detective hat on before we started.
I know. The only other thing about this theory, I did see one thing somewhere. I should have wrote it down. I didn't. Something about how, I can't remember what order it's in. There's only a certain time of year that rye could really grow this mold. And some of the reports of towns that had dancing plague, it wasn't the right time of year for there to be that kind of mold growing.
But wouldn't it also depend on the conditions in their home?
I don't know.
How it's being stored. You know what I mean?
That was just one thing. I saw that in like one article I read, so I don't know.
Because like musty cellars, doesn't matter what time of year it is. Like if you have a musty cellar, it might not. Because I feel like a lot of people back in the day, if they didn't, well, because obviously fridges were not invented yet. So a lot of ways that they kept their food kept and cool were in cellars or in like lower than ground level musty areas. So I feel like even that could like produce some mold and stuff like that. So
I feel like that theory has legs.
Absolutely. Literally. Gross.
Dancing legs.
Oh, I also was thinking moldy legs.
Oh, ew.
The actual mold. Anyway, let's start.
So by the mid 1600s, outbreaks of compulsive dancing had ceased to affect the people of Europe. So we don't really have a solid answer. And I looked up if there was anything ever like this again, and there wasn't. The only thing I could find that was a modern equivalent that people did relate, which is very weird, and I would love to look more into this, is that apparently in 1962, there was a laughter epidemic that broke out in Tanzania among girls in a mission school, which went on to affect about 1,000 people in the surrounding community for 18 months with uncontrollable laughter accompanied by fainting, respiratory problems, and crying.
Oh my gosh. What?
Yeah. And they don't, from what I saw, there was no real answer as well.
Wow.
Like they couldn't figure out how it was spreading.
I didn't hear about that one
Again, there's
either.
theories, but...
Wow. I have not heard about that one.
No, I want to look into that one more because it's very interesting.
We'll have to throw Weird Science back on the board.
Yeah, Weird Science is the fun one.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's really all the theories I could find out there. I don't know. I think we're onto something with the ergot.
Yeah,
poisoning.
I think so too. It sounds the most likely. I was literally thinking like at the very beginning of the story when you started, my initial thought was something parasitic or something that affected that part of their brain that would cause them to have those uncontrolled, because it's not like nice dancing. They're not swing dancing or anything like that.
No.
They're like uncontrollable flailing of arms and thrashing, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
So in my mind, it was immediately going to like some sort of parasitic thing in their brain that was like affecting that part of their motor control functions where they just couldn't stop. That's what sounds most likely to me. So, but again, I don't know what that could have been caused by, but this ergot definitely sounds like a very, very strong candidate for that.
There, we cracked the lid on this.
Yeah. Mystery solved.
Mystery solved. Wrap that up in the Grimdark Diary.
Tie a little
pencil
bow
that
on
in there. Turn that page.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Call the historians.
That's right. Grimdark
I'm sure
Diaries
they've never thought about it.
the case. No, absolutely not. We are the first. You heard it here first, everybody. All right. Well, is it my turn to roll?
Wait, I have one more thing.
Okay.
Just because this is not... Okay, so I was telling my husband about this story because I was like, isn't this wild? And then he was like, oh, that's like an Elden Ring. And I was like, what? And then he was like, yeah, there's like a town that you go to and everybody is just dancing weirdly and laughing and you can't interact with anybody.
Oh,
and I was like,
yeah.
what? And then he showed me on his stream, he found
Yes,
it.
I
And he goes into
forgot.
this town and everybody is dancing around and you hear like laughter creepily and like kind of like, ooh,
I actually
noises.
remember that. Yeah, because I was
And
watching
he was
his
super
stream
weirded
and I
out in the
saw
stream.
that. Yeah, that's so funny. I forgot all about that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So that
that's
was
creepy.
interesting.
Yeah.
So he was like, maybe they have a dancing plague.
It could be. I guess you never know. Okay, cool. Well, I'm going to roll and pick my category. I mean, whatever my roll is. I got an 8. I read it on Reddit.
Nice. Man, there's so many good threads. You could literally
I
choose anything
know.
from any category.
So take next week's story with a grain of salt.
It could be anything.
It
True
literally
crime,
could be
supernatural, cryptids.
Yeah, I'm excited. Cool.
Sometimes if I'm looking for a case, I'll go on Reddit and I'll look for a thread
Yes.
where somebody said like, what's a true crime story with a crazy twist or whatever. And
Yeah.
I'll go through all the comments to
I
see
do
what
that
people
too.
recommend.
I also love RBI. Have you heard of RBI?
I don't know what that is.
Reddit Bureau of Investigation.
No.
So literally people go on there and ask questions that they like have this weird thing happening. Like, is my landlord spying on me? Or is this happening? Or how can I find out? I don't know.
Cool.
Crazy cool stories. Crazy cool. I love it because then Reddit becomes all the detective investigators that they do, and they try to
armchair detectives. I
crack
love
the
it.
case. Oh my god, I love it so much. I'm on RBI very, very often. Yeah. So anyway, check that out. I'm probably going to check that out for a story. So don't check it out until I'm done.
Nobody look at Reddit.
Nobody
for a
look
week.
at Reddit for a week. Okay, so if you would like to follow us on social media, you guys know how to find us at this point. And if you're new, you can just find us at The Grimdark Diaries. We are on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter and TikTok. I swear we'll get to TikTok eventually. We're on it, but we don't do anything on it yet. If you want to send us an email, send us all your fun theories about what Nikki just told us. What do you guys think happened? Because we would love to hear what you guys have to think. What have to say. We are at thegrimdarkdiaries@gmail.com. We also do ads. If you would like to have an ad on our podcast, or if you would like us to do an ad for your podcast, hit us up. We would love to collaborate in that if you wanted to. And if you're on an Apple podcast, if you would go ahead and give us a 5-star rating, give us a comment, review. We would love it if you did that because it will really bump us up on their algorithms so that other people can find us. We would love to get out there a little bit more. And other podcast platforms, whatever it is that your podcast platform will let you do, if you can like us, if you can subscribe to us, if you can follow us, whatever it is, give us a 5-star rating. You can do that on Spotify now if you're listening to us on Spotify. Give us a 5-star rating on there too. That would be super helpful to our algorithm feed, whatever it's called. I don't know what it's called. Anyway, we would really, really appreciate that. So so thank you very much for everybody for hanging out with us for this episode. So join us next week to see what I come up with for I Read It on Reddit. And remember, a friend in the dark beats alone in the light.